Good morning. How are you? Happy Friday. Today, I just want to talk about some tech jargon as it relates to websites. This is one thing that I feel myself talking about all day, every day, and just want to kind of go through it with you because I know when we're working on websites, whether we're doing edits or a redesign or just fixes or whatever, it's very confusing sometimes when a developer is like, hey, I need this and I need this and I need this and we're like, and we send passwords and we think it's the right thing and they're like, no, that's not the right thing and I need this and it just gets very confusing and it can be stressful, especially if you're not a tech person, to know what they're asking for. So I'm going to take you through the different login information details that your web person is going to need when working on your website. Number one, they are going to need your hosting information. A lot of people, when I find this a lot, is like when I ask for the hosting information, they'll send their website login. Your website login is not your web hosting information. When you have a website is essentially files that is being populated in that's what shows the website. But those files are being stored somewhere. So that web host may be GoDaddy, maybe Bluehost, maybe WP Engine, maybe someone else. But this is not your WordPress login. This is separate. This is where your files are, probably where your email is managed through. So number one, you need your hosting login. Number two, in a lot of cases when working on a website, you're going to need your domain registrar login information. Domain registrar login information is where you bought your domain from. For example, onpurposeprojects.com. Where did I buy that from? And it may be the same as the host, but in a lot of cases it's not. So that may be GoDaddy, domains.com. That may be there's a number of places that resell domains. So searching back, where did you buy that domain? Because that information, again, it may not be relevant to the particular project you're working on right now, but it's so good to have that handy. Where did you buy the domain from? Number one. Hosting. Who is your web host? Number three, website login. This may be your WordPress login or your Shopify login, and this is the actual website itself. So this may be, and when you're sending the login information to your web person, don't add them as an editor or a user, add them as an admin. So they're going to need an admin WordPress login. Okay, inside of the website, your website may be running off custom plugins, or not, sorry, custom plugins, paid plugins, premium plugins. Premium plugin examples are like WPML. There's paid versions of things like Yoast or whatever the case may be. If you are making changes or moving any of these plugins, your web team is going to need login information to these plugins. So for example, in the case that, let's say you have a multilingual site and you are doing a redesign and the web team is setting up WPML, this multilingual plugin, on the new site, they are going to need login information to that particular plugin to change the settings to have it direct from site A to site B. So they're going to need that login information. Number five, email. If your website is going to be integrating with MailChimp or ActiveCampaigns or Infusionsoft or whatever it is, and you want your web forms on the website to integrate with any of that CRM or any of that email server stuff, email management stuff, you are going to need to give them that email login information. So you can see there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of different logins that you're going to need. Number six, SSL certificate. A lot of times if you see a website and it says secure at the top, what that means is there is just this encryption tool that's overlaid on your site, and we just, in the world they call it the SSL certificate. And sometimes people will buy the SSL certificate from their host, sometimes not. Sometimes the SSL certificate is bought somewhere else. So if you have that information, have that handy as well. So these are like the first five are the main ones. So as you're working with a web person, they are always going to ask for this information. They're going to need it 100% of the time. And if you have a staging site, they're going to need the same information for the staging site, because if you have the staging site maybe on a different host or a different website login. So keeping in mind that it's your responsibility to know where all these things are. It's very, very helpful to have all the information in one spot, like in one document. Or use a tool like LastPass.com, free tool, LastPass.com, And then you can share the passwords without that person actually being able to see the passwords, so it just encrypts your password. But this back and forth, like it's funny when I joke about people ask me what takes the longest time on a website project. And they always want me to say, oh, it's web design or it's web development. And kind of joking, I'm like, getting the passwords, getting the right passwords. Because it's one thing to have them, but make sure before you send them that you test them. Because I would say like 60% of the time when someone sends us a password, it doesn't work. And then we have to go back and forth and back and forth. So make sure that you have it and you've tested it. It's gone to your web team. They have what they need. They can work cleanly, and you'll find it just goes way more smoothly. So I hope that helps. I'll talk